Good evening. A regular meeting of the City Council held in council chambers on Thursday, March 14th, 2019 at 7:05 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on March 12th, 2019 at 12:22 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Please silence your cell phones. All councilors are present. Council President Dibble presided. Council Fiore moved to suspend with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. President Dibble requested that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Sargent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for a point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to take a moment to recognize a Ward 2 resident, but truly a member of our entire community, Mr. Thomas O'Donnell, who unfortunately passed away 2 weekends ago. And he was a true son of Salem, and his whole family has lived here for generations. And personally, I met him when I was campaigning, and he didn't know anything about me, and it's very easy to judge by who I am, where I'm from, and he quickly made a positive judgment and was a supporter of my candidacy, and he's always been very generous and has a great sense of humor. And even just shortly before his death, he left me a voicemail, a really funny joke, and I never got to call him back. So I am very devastated that he had passed away, and he definitely had a huge impact in our community. I was in line for nearly 2 hours just to get into his wake, and I know that many of my colleagues were there as well. And just looking at the people who turned up, it's of all ages, all backgrounds, and you can just feel a sense of enormous impact he had on our community. And so I just want to ask for a moment of silence and offer our condolences to Tony, Hank, Carol, and wish the family would return for another recognition. But before we take that moment, I want to ask if other councilors would also like to say a few words about Tommy.
Council Fiore.
Mr. President, Tom was in a league of his own, indeed, Councilor Madore, and the whole family. The best part of Salem is people, families. The O'Donnell family, like the Kennedy family, the Bush family, the Obama family. And that's what Salem is all about. We have some disagreements in the chamber tonight, and disagreements. The basic foundation of Salem, the best part of Salem, is not its buildings, it's its people, it's its families. The O'Donnell family is synonymous. I had the real privilege and pleasure, Mr. President, to serve on the City Council. I served in the school committee with Hank O'Donnell. And great years for serving with him. Our school system is much better having his shining star as the superintendent, and Tommy, his father, died prematurely young at the age of 50, Tommy's father, and now his son Anthony has to continue the torch. And we're in good hands with Anthony. All of us that went to the wake and the funeral, it's an amazing family. It gave you goosebumps and moving. It's a great family, best of Salem. And I hope, Councilor Madore, that we can do a city seal, a resolution, as we did with Mr. Nazarian at the last meeting. That was beautiful. It was nice for the family. I think what we can do is a city seal, maybe our city solicitor, and some of us can write some nice quotations about Tommy O'Donnell and our memories of him. Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice touch, I agree. Any further discussion? Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, I said that we're a city that's rich in history, but our true wealth is our people and their willingness to pitch in and help each other out. And no better example of that than Tom O'Donnell. Although we ran a business, he did a lot of charitable work. There were a lot of people that may not have had the money to afford a funeral, and I know Tom did his best to accommodate them. As a young boy hanging around the common, he always walked between us going from his house to the funeral home, so we got to speak to him a lot and imparted a lot of words of wisdom upon us, and we appreciate his kind words. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say briefly, he was probably one of the kindest, gentlest souls I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And Salem is at a tremendous loss for his absence. I wish all my best to his entire family, as I met them at the wake the other night. But it was a tremendous show of his support by the amount, literally the amount of hours that people spent outside waiting just to get in to say, offer their condolences with those heaters that were outside and everything that had to happen to make that event happen. And it is truly a loss for Salem. Thank you.
Well said. Councilor Flynn?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd also like to echo those words that the O'Donnell family has done so much for this city. Personally, on the fire department, honor God, Mr. O'Donnell has done so much to work with us, always very compassionate for everyone, and it's a real loss for the city, and thoughts and prayers to him and his family. Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, would you all please rise for a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Public testimony. Public testimony is not to exceed 15 minutes. Our assistant clerk will hold up a red sign. When you're at 50 seconds, you'll be allowed 1 minute maximum per person. And at the end of, after 50 seconds, you'll hold up the warning, and then at 1 minute, the buzzer will please go off. Please adhere to her rules, our rules, as best you can. I will allow you to finish your thought or finish your sentence, as I typically always do. But if you're going on and on, I'm asking, because we're now handling this matter for, well, quite a few times of public testimony. If somebody has already stated what you are about to say, please just mention that you're in support of what was just said, unless you have new to offer. So with that, public testimony. The first person that signed up, we have quite a few signed up tonight. Flora Thornfat.
Flora Thornfat, 30 Northeast Street. When I moved into my 1809 house in 2000, I knew much work had to be done to restore it. If hindsight is 20/20, then I can say that by acting sooner rather than later, I preserved the house and saved myself quite a bit of money. There's an urgency here, and with these deteriorating buildings, they cannot wait yet another year in this harsh New England weather. I urge the council to please preserve these historic buildings, save taxpayer money, stay on budget to pay for the CLC, and create much-needed housing. For Salem's upcoming 400-year anniversary in 2026, I really hope we have something good to show the world. Thank you.
John Lynch. John J. Lynch? Oh, there you are, sorry. You see the roadblock in front of you there.
My apologies, this is my first time in front of the council. Hello, never done this before, but...
I'm sorry, I didn't say that earlier. Name and address for the record.
There you go, case in point. John J. Lynch, 4 Scenic Terrace, Ward 4. This started a couple weeks ago, about 2-3 weeks ago. I was helping my babysitter, a young woman, has a 4-year-old son, trying to find housing. It's absolutely impossible in Salem. It's taken me, meandered a little bit. I've come here, I've come across the street, I've had a couple of different meetings. But one of the things that I was informed of was this new zoning proposal to take existing buildings and try to retrofit them, rezone them so we can get more housing. That's an obvious need. I'd just love to know for those present, I'm not asking, but in future discussions, what would your opposition to that be? I'm confused by that. My understanding is there's 27 buildings that could fall into this category, only 3 of which are unused. I know most of them are former religious. Is that me? That was good. That was good. Anyways, I'm in support of it, and that's all.
Finish your sentence, though.
Yeah, I'm in support of this. I just would like to see more housing, especially low-income housing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Freeberg.
Try to speed it up. David Friedberg, 57 Britannia Circle. This morning, Mayor Driscoll was one of 4 mayors at the Realtor event. It was about housing. The most important thing for all the mayors was shortage of market rate and affordable housing. This is a compromise overlay ordinance, and most importantly, will benefit Salem residents by creating needed housing that otherwise will not economically be available. In addition, the historic component of the preservation of the buildings we already know. The compromise came about because hundreds of hours have been spent here. The public comments, there have been hundreds, and the city departments have weighed in. So I encourage you to hear that from the council. Some of the benefits that you've heard is that the threshold will be lowered from 80% to 60%. That means more people who really need this housing are going to get it. New construction component that comes out from neighbors who don't want that encroaching is going to be there. CDC has said that they're going to create housing for nearly 100% affordable. Another one in the wings who is interested in taking another building and doing just about the same. Thank you.
Jen Lynch?
Jen Lynch, 38 Charles Street. Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Salem, many of whom are here tonight. We sent an email around, so I hope you've had a chance to read that. It may seem odd that the League is taking so much time with a zoning ordinance, but there are many of our initiatives and issues that are mirrored in the MROD. First, it being affordable housing. This ordinance will not solve the housing crisis, but it will create sorely needed housing in Salem. Of the buildings posed to benefit most immediately from the overlay, 2 will be fully affordable and will be market rate, and we need both. Economic responsibility. This ordinance creates a path to selling and rehabilitating 5 Broad Street. Failure to do so will create a financial deficit. I encourage you to consider your fiscal responsibility to the taxpayers of Salem. And finally, environmental sustainability. By allowing adaptive reuse of these buildings, we keep much of the original construction materials out of the landfill, open the way to energy-saving upgrades, and create new housing close to public transit. Steps to a greener Salem. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Refuse?
Hi, it's Cheryl Rayfuse. It's okay. Happens all the time. 84 Barstow Street. So this week, funnily enough, I actually got a letter from my landlord specifically stating that because of rising property taxes, he's raising my rent, which I know rent gets raised all the time, but my landlord tries really hard to keep our rent affordable. And it was like, oh, okay, this is like affecting me like right now in this moment. And like, it's not like a crazy amount, but I just like, I flashed forward like the years that I would like to stay in Salem. And I'm like, what if it really does become like totally unaffordable for me? Like I had wanted to live here since I was like 7 years old. Like I'm a Massachusetts native and came here all the time. And I'm just like, if I have to move out of Salem, like I literally don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm just kind of appealing for more housing in that sort of way where it's like, I love to live here. I love the people here. Everyone is amazing. And I just would hate to leave this community.
Thank you. Erica Feldman.
Hi, I'm Erica Feldman. This is my first time. I am not as nervous as I sound, or maybe more. I own House Switch Home and Healing, and I live at 26 Chestnut Street. I came here tonight with my friends and coworkers to please ask you to adopt this ordinance. We are productive and engaged citizens who work hard and happily donate our time, money, and energy to making Salem a better place in a myriad of ways. We are scared. I am scared for myself, my employees, and the great majority of my friends because Salem, just like everywhere else, is becoming totally unaffordable and we don't know where we'll go. We originally moved to Salem because it was affordable. Now we've lived and worked in Salem for years. We work in the shops and restaurants downtown that feed and entertain the tourists that pour money into the town from April till November. We start businesses and give people jobs, and we care deeply about Salem. Every single one of us is a renter who will benefit immensely from there being more available housing in Salem. As for affordable, I believe that when you help the most vulnerable among us, everyone benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Jenkins.
Thank you, everybody. Tim Jenkins, 18 Broad Street. I'm again speaking for Historic Salem, Inc., and we're longtime advocates for conversion and reuse of old buildings. In particular, most of them have been reused for housing. So we're excited about seeing buildings that are unused and unfortunately becoming more dilapidated by the day being reused as a result, hopefully, of this ordinance being passed. There's continue to be minor changes that need to be made to the wording that we've already discussed with the city and the council. And we're hopeful that once that wording is included, you'll legally be able to increase the density in the existing buildings. And we want to thank you all for all the work you've put into this and continuing to put into it. Thanks.
Ty Hapworth.
Ty Hapworth, 6 Brown Street. I think there's more about this ordinance that brings us together than there is that separates us. Everybody in this room wants these buildings preserved. We all want more affordable housing in Salem. And like a lot of people here tonight, I was disappointed with the no votes that happened on the last round. But I do think those votes represent the views of a lot of people in Salem, and I think they represent a lot of the frustration that people feel about some of the changes that are happening in Salem with some of the growth that we're seeing. Those can't be dismissed, but this solution that we see here tonight cannot be made into a proxy for those frustrations that people feel. This is a good ordinance. This was created through months of public input and compromise. We need to save these buildings. We need to provide housing for our citizens, and we need this council tonight to set an example for unity and compromise and pass this ordinance. Thank you.
Sarah Thomas.
Sarah Thomas, 51 Howard Street Extension, which, if anybody knows, in Salem is at the base of Howard Street, which means that I've had a front row seat to a situation that would be protected by this ordinance actually working in real life. On 7 Howard Street, which was a former ecclesiastical building being used for a convent, in 2016 was adapted using the building's original envelope into 7 market rate units. My friends, my best friends, are direct abutters. They have 7 new neighbors. They have 7 friends. I was so thrilled tonight to hear Councilor Fury and Councilor Sargent's comments about the people of Salem being our true legacy. By adapting this ordinance, we can not only honor the ecclesiastical legacy of Salem and the architectural legacy of Salem, we can honor the legacy of Salem and its people. We can make more homes for more people to live in Salem. I can't echo the people who have spoken in favor of respecting that community enough, and I urge the council to look at the real legacy of the vote they get to protect this city tonight. Thank you.
T.C. Riley Goggin.
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. I'm going to compare this ordinance with the Boston Marathon. It has a starting line and a finish line. Imagine it without a finish line. Chaos. Here in Salem, this ordinance right now, it needs improvement. Imagine, if you do not improve it, ladies and gentlemen, where will we go? We'll be chaotic. I'm going to ask you, please, to either put it in committee and make it better for all of us. We are for affordable housing. We are for this ordinance. But I'm asking you, please, either make it better or vote it down and start all over again. Remember, the Boston Marathon, the chaos. We need to have order. We need to have considerations for all people who need housing, especially for the seniors of the city of Salem. Thank you.
Thank you. Cynthia Nina Soto.
Cynthia Nina Soto, 6 Laurent Road, right here in Salem, President-elect at the North Shore Association of Realtors. Several occasions as President and as a member of the Realtor Association, we have come forth and presented our support for this ordinance. Today we ask again for the same thing, echoing my colleague David Friedberg. Also, I wanted to ask a question that you guys maybe have thought about or maybe haven't. What is the alternative if this doesn't happen? What happens if these buildings don't get developed? What happens to the funding for the new CLC? Are my taxes going to be increased if the sale of this building doesn't go through? So are we not going to get housing and then our taxes going to be increased? Furthermore, today, we got some really exciting news at my house. My daughter was accepted into her top school, Emerson. She also won a playwright competition. I would love to be able to come back home today and let her know that there is a possibility for her to come back home after college to live right here, the city where she was born, the city where she raised, the city where she has coached many kids to also follow her love for theater. Thank you.
Jeff Cohen?
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street in Salem. White Ribbon Day is a day for men and boys to encourage other men and boys not to commit violence against women and children. But I'm here speaking on behalf of this zoning ordinance. We cannot strive to be perfect. It's impossible. And excellence can come from compromise. And that's what happened with this ordinance. Most of the concerns were addressed. For decades, I think 50 years, Cambridge has had an ordinance which tries, its intent is to have every neighborhood the same amount or proportion of people from every income level. It's impossible to do, but it's a great goal, and they're working to that goal. So this is about doing the right thing for Salem, our history, and all our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Abarbanel.
My name is Catherine A. Barbanel. I live at 21 Mason Street, and I am in support of the rezoning ordinance. I was born in Mountain View, California in 1986. I watched my birthplace explode in price. In 2014, I was completely priced out of the Bay Area and moved up to the Pacific Northwest, as so many of us did. I was forced out of 3 rentals due to drastic rent increases. I've lived in decrepit spaces with undesirable people just to afford rent. My ancestors are from Massachusetts, and my family is here now, and I moved here to try to escape the constant price hikes and evictions. I finally found affordable housing in Salem, and I want to build roots somewhere. I want to build roots here. I've been priced out of everywhere I've ever lived. I'm 33 years old. I don't want to feel like I got lucky just because I can afford to live here. And I am not an anomaly. And this community cannot thrive if only the wealthy can live here. Where are we supposed to go? I've been all over the country, and I want to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Hart.
Hi, Lori Hart, 114 Federal Street. And I've been following the progress of the MRA ROD for a while, and I have a couple things to say about it. I keep hearing people talk about 3 buildings, but it's definitely a lot more than 3 buildings, and that's why I'm encouraging people to look more closely at this, especially one item, which is where it references item in the zoning ordinance 3.3.3, which will actually do the opposite of what you said you were going to try not to do, which is to provide new construction. So that's the one thing that I'm really concerned about. The other thing I want to mention is that people talk about affordable housing, and I'm absolutely all for affordable housing, but I also want to point out that the 2 buildings were mentioned a couple weeks ago to be 50 to 100% affordable housing, and that leaves over 20 buildings that will be 10% affordable housing and 90% not affordable housing. So just to keep that in mind. So, thank you.
Christian Hoisted.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Christian Hoysrad. I live at 9 Pickering Way. You've heard from my fellow councilors, and you know our association stands in support of passage of this overlay. So I speak to you tonight solely as a Salem resident and a neighbor of the Immaculate Conception School on Hawthorne Boulevard. Every time I pass by that building, I try to imagine life, families, homes in that building, and then I think about the fact that this council may prevent that from happening tonight. If you vote no, you're voting against affordable housing. Mickey and the CDC are ready to provide housing in this community, but they can't do that unless you give them the pathway to do so. I know some of you have valid concerns about AMI and affordability requirements for developers, and those are fully legitimate concerns, but should be addressed in a broader zoning ordinance. And this isn't that. This overlay isn't that. And so we need your yes votes in order to sell the former senior center for profit, like this council committed to, and we need you to allow the CDC to build the housing that this city so desperately needs. Thank you all.
Thank you. Boaz Al-Bashar.
Before you start, Maureen, I want to extend the community's condolences to Flora in the passing of her mother. May she rest in eternal peace. Our hearts are with you. Fawaz Abu Shar for Harrison Road. I am like everybody else. I want affordable housing. This ordinance has few things. Remove all new construction. Somehow they keep bringing it back. I don't understand why without any permission. Salem residential priority. It's not illegal. There are ways to make priority for the Salem elderly and veterans. We need more affordability. The 2060 is a good threshold to start with, and we need to go over. A zoning map to show locations of all these buildings so we don't have any pop-up in the future that we don't know about, which is, I think, all this ordinance is about. It's something in the future, and other cities did that with the whole city overlay, and they still had the map, and I'm going to bring Worcester as a fast example. Very important, planning board. We saw how we gave them an ordinance, and they brought it back awful, and they went back a million years back with it. So to make a board like that, who is appointed by the mayor, who answers only to the mayor, to make them the only entity that decides on this is totally wrong. The historical board, other boards need to say the same thing, and they need to have a saying, not just a recommendation. I think this needs a lot to go before you guys approve it. Please send it back to committee. Let's do it right, because this is not 3 buildings. This is forever in Salem. Let's do it right, and let's bring
Thank you,
an ordinance that we all can agree on.
Thank you. That concludes our public testimony for tonight. Hearings, none. Appointments and reappointments. Councilor Madore.
Held from the last meeting, Mayor's appointment of Christian Bednar, 17 Beacon Street, to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board with a term to expire on February 28, 2020.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I can't recommend Chris enough. He has been very engaged in the topic of affordable housing ever since, I believe, the start of my term. He's reached out about the issue in particular. It's an important issue for him because he has 3 children, and I think he is very deeply involved in the education community, and he feels that providing housing is something that will lift up a community, and I cannot recommend him enough. I don't know if he's here tonight, but oh, he is. Great. And I'm very happy that he's going to be serving on this board.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Saturio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yeah. Yes, excuse me.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble?
Yes. Eleven councils present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Bednar to address the council if he so chooses.
I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve on this. As Councilman Madore said, I have 3 children. We're all highly involved in the Salem school system, and this is an issue that we care deeply about from personal interest as well as a larger community interest. So thank you very much.
Further appointments and reappointments.
Be the mayor's appointment of Cynthia Nina Soto to serve on the Affordable Trust Fund Board with a term to expire on March 14, 2020.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Under discussion?
I move that this be held under the rules.
Oh,
yeah, there's no sorry.
suspension. Thank you.
No,
No discussion.
Sorry. Yeah, I move that this be
Held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Susan Dame Green to serve on the Cemetery Commission with a term to expire on February 28, 2022.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for this to be held under the rules.
Held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of John Young to the Disabilities Commission with a term to expire on March 24, 2022.
Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like this confirmed by a roll call vote.
Yes. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll? Oh, I'm sorry, under discussion.
No discussion. I just wanted to say, John Young does a great job with the Disabilities Commission. Glad to have him in Ward 4. He's always positive, supportive. He does many marathons and inspiration to many, and we're lucky to have him.
Okay. Any further discussion? Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to echo that. I think John is a wonderful part of our community, and as the liaison to the Disabilities Commission, he's a really valuable part of that commission, brings a lot to the table. So I'm glad he is willing to continue to serve.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Council Torrio?
Yes.
Council Sargent?
Yes.
Council Peterson?
Yes.
Council Milo?
Yes.
Council McCarthy?
Yes.
Council Madore?
Yes.
Council Gerard?
Yes.
Council Fury?
Yes.
Council Flynn?
Yes.
Council Dominguez?
Yes.
And Council Dibble.
Yes. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Fred Atkins of 3 Neptune Road, Marblehead, to the Salem Harbor Port Authority with a term to expire March 23rd, 2022.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I can't say enough about Fred and his ability to serve on this board. The Port Authority's probably, we're just in the infancy of it. It's probably only had 3 or 4 meetings. And, but Fred, from my experience with Fred as a business owner and of owning the yacht yard, and from being a candidate for office some 13, 14 years ago and saw him chair the Harbor Committee with the Harbor Plan, and his knowledge of everything that goes on with regard to the water. He's a valuable asset to this, and I wholeheartedly recommend his reappointment.
Great. Any further discussion? Council Fury.
Yes, please, Mr. President. Just to echo that, what Council McCarthy says, the Atkins family has a legacy of maritime history. And I went to a local history lecture at the Ward 6 Association, Ward 6 Association, and he spoke, Mr. Jim McAllister spoke about presidents coming to Salem, Massachusetts. President Roosevelt came a couple times to Salem, Massachusetts, to the Armory. He spoke at the Armory in front of 3,000 people. But he also talked at Atkins Boatyard, where his boat, going up to Campobello over the years, where he used to live in Campobello, where he got polio. And, got that ailment that crippled him for life. So the Atkins family knew the Roosevelts enough to come here, do maintenance of their boat. So whatever we can do tonight to recognize the service of the Atkins family, remarkable family, in maritime history, and the Roosevelt family. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Council Torrio?
Yes.
Council Sargent?
Yes.
Council Peterson?
Yes.
Council Milo?
Yes.
Council McCarthy?
Yes.
Council Madore?
Yes.
Council Gerard?
Yes.
Council Fury?
Yes.
Council Flynn?
Yes.
Council Dominguez?
Yes.
And Council Dibble.
Yes. Thank you. 11 councils present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Council Turrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we go out of order to page 16. Finish business.
Council Fury.
Council Turner? Oh, I apologize. Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Testing.
Just a point of clarification and point of personal privilege, I guess. I think you've been up there many, many times, and I'm wondering if you've ever felt sick while you were up there. But at our last meeting, I had a nice temperature going the whole time. If it weren't for the Assistant City Clerk, I'd like to thank publicly. She filled my water bottles. I think I drank 5 or 6 bottles of water that night. I filled up 1 or 2 of them, I think, but she filled up 3 or 4. Nice temperature, boy. Anyway, thank you for this. I didn't speak on the ordinance when we last met. I had a little trouble standing up there for so long. It was pretty hot with all the firemen and everything else. The ordinance itself came to us and said that it was good for Salem residents, it was affordable, it had historic preservation, it had resiliency and sustainability, on and on. Councilor McCarthy, I apologize, you were heckled at our last meeting, and then We all outvoted you on your attempt to have a Salem preference, if you would, on that ordinance. And I apologize that I didn't soften the crowd faster. But it turns out, and I voted against your measure, it turns out that the city of Boston gives preference to Boston residents on a similar type of process, and other cities do the same thing. So that was unfortunate. The affordability unit, there's no low income requirements in this ordinance, there's no senior housing in this ordinance, and there's really no affordable in it at all. So to call it affordable and everything else, it's really not true. If you add in the rate at Boston's rate of pay, income, it's not Salem's rate, but if you add the difference to Salem's, it winds up being a wash, so it's really market rate across the board in this ordinance. We had a wonderful meeting. The mayor put on a great presentation, a great meeting with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council and our planning staff. We had I think it was last Monday, well attended. What'd you say, over 100, 150 people, 200 people or so. It was well attended. And we learned a lot. There's a lot of good ideas out there. And I look forward to having something that's truly affordable come to us. But it's not this ordinance. It offers really no affordability. Outside of Mickey Northcutt and, well, rather North Shore CDC, looking to redo these two buildings, St. Mary's and St. James schools, Mickey has made it clear, North Shore CDC has made it clear several times, I think 3, maybe 4 times at the different meetings along the way, that they don't need this ordinance. And they're going to go above and beyond this ordinance to boot at a higher, a lower rate, so it's really going to be affordable, and probably a lot of low income in there as well. They haven't worked out the final numbers, but we're lucky to have them going forward to doing some affordable units, but this ordinance does do it, and the North Shore CDC doesn't need this ordinance. They've made it clear. They're going forward without it. It's been interesting along the way. We've talked about historic preservation, but the Historic Commission does not get a vote on this, on these schools, which they do a pretty good job. I mean, look around the city. Our buildings look pretty good since they've been in place for decades now, the Historic Commission. Perhaps they should have a vote. I spoke back in June and then again in November at the 2 informational meetings that the planning department had about some of my concerns, that I wanted clarity on the zoning. I'm a numbers guy. I like it black and white to have 15-foot side setbacks. Your building can only be 35-foot tall, or how many units you can put in your building. So there's clarity, so that residents around that property and developers alike will be treated fairly and can know what they can and cannot do on these properties. This zoning ordinance, we don't know what properties are in there today. And it's not about just these 3 properties or 4 properties, depending who you talk to. It's not just about 5 Broad Street, St. Mary's School, the Immaculate Conception where I was married, and St. James and St. Anne's. We could throw in a few more. It might be about Salem State, South Campus. The mayor and I talked about that the other day. It might be about other properties involved. We don't know what properties are included in this, because the wording of this is vague. I'll be polite, it's vague. So it's not needed by the developer on these 2 schools. It's not needed in the past to switch so many schools and religious facilities all around the school into housing, including many recently, like the St. James Rectory and the convent. The Archdiocese started this whole ball rolling with a letter that was sent to City Hall to asking us to create a vehicle to have some sort of ordinance that will allow these buildings to be renovated. Well, that's good, but they never asked for new construction. And the Ward 6 councilor was kind enough to read the actual letter 2 meetings ago, and she confirmed that there was no new construction requested in there. But yet, along the way, we added new construction to the point in the meeting in June where I spoke out against this. The wording was, as tall, you could build another building on the same property, as tall as any other building on the same property. Well, that's pretty crazy wording for a guy who likes numbers in the zoning ordinance. That is pretty vague. So somebody on Hawthorne Boulevard or over at Federal Street or anywhere else in the city at one of these properties, they can build as tall as the tallest building on the same property. So the cross at the top of the Immaculate Conception Church, you can put another building as tall. Maybe that's 10 stories, maybe it's 15 stories. I've heard all sorts of numbers. I don't really know how high that is, but it's pretty high. Higher than anything around the downtown, pretty much, except for maybe Charter Street. It's not really fair to the neighbor that lives right next door or right behind it. Same thing with St. James or any other property around the city. So one property can go really, really high, and the properties right next to it have to stay at the existing zoning. Not really fair to have a tall building next to you, not fair that somebody else can do something like this and you can't. I don't know if we want all these tall buildings like that, so I'm very happy the planner took this off, but it took 2 meetings, not one. I attended the first meeting in June, I went to another meeting in November, and at that meeting, it was still in there, and I spoke up again saying, we still don't know what properties, but a list had been created, which was not accurate, or it was not complete. So I really like to see it on the zoning map. But the wording from June to November was still in there, as tall as the tallest building on the same property. That's pretty big construction. So we had the Archdiocese letter, not asking for new construction, but new construction is in here. Somebody added new construction to it. Okay? Then we softened it and took the tall buildings, the tall steeples and other ornamentation to buildings off of it, and we wound up with pretty still tall buildings. The roof line of some of these churches are pretty high, a lot higher than the buildings that are around them. So we go forward. We have a joint public hearing. At the joint public hearing, the city council and we all agreed to take new construction off. Planning board goes back to deliberate. Unfortunately, the public hearing was closed, which I did not want to see it closed. Public hearing was closed. The planning board goes and they put the new construction back into it. So now we're back to square one again. And all along the line, Historic Salem and Jessica Herbert, the chair of the Historic Commission, have been speaking in favor of this ordinance with some modifications so that the city as a whole is protected. Well, all those things were put back in. So now it's back before the city council, and we, the city council, took the new construction back off. We go forward a little bit longer to the next meeting, and the Ward 1 councilor held a great committee meeting where a lot of changes were made to this. I think a week or a couple days, I forget, maybe a week before the vote actually took place. A lot of good changes along the way. Some minor typos, but some good changes that were meaningful. I still didn't get clarity on the zoning issues. The at-large council didn't get clarity on if we can give Salem residents some preference, and there were several other issues about affordable housing and on here. Whether the Historic Commission should or could have an actual vote on preserving these buildings that they work so hard to do on other properties. It makes sense to have our excellent Historic Commission look at these things. I'm almost done. So new construction was put back in, I think, 4 different times at different layers. The last time was 2 hours before the vote was taken. I received an email, maybe 3 hours, I forget, Tom, I'm not sure when it came in, but it came in Thursday afternoon, right before our 7 o'clock meeting. And it had some more wording about adding the wheelchair ramps and the elevator shaft, which we had talked about during the meeting. And I said that I feel that the Zoning Board of Appeals would approve those things, and it's not really needed to be in the ordinance. That was really straightforward, but there's more wording on top of it for other types of new construction, and it's not really clear. The wording is still vague. So new construction keeps coming back over and over and over into here, and I can't, and several other councils can't get it clarity on the ordinance and have it on the zoning map. It's interesting how it's a simple thing. The city of Worcester has a very similar ordinance to reuse old schools, and it's on their zoning map. It identifies all the buildings around the city that this ordinance speaks to. So why can't Salem have clarity so our neighbors and our developers can go forward and reuse these buildings, but have clarity and put it on the zoning map? I still don't have the answer why it can't go on the zoning map, or at least a good answer. I've heard that it's spot zoning, but I tell you, we're taking all like items and putting them all together on the map. Old schools. 5 Broad Street's an old school. The other 2 are old schools. The ordinance hurts Salem. We have a possibility of renovating the 2 schools, and Mickey Northcutt at North Shore CDC has already said that he's going forward with or without this ordinance. So that's kind of off the table. That's going forward. The ordinance, it leaves a lot of questions in neighborhoods all around the city. Like I said, I've been asking for the the properties to be put on the zoning map so we all have clarity and there's no gray area where developers can manipulate the rules. Or somebody might looking to buy a property, they can look at the zoning map and say, oh, that's pretty good. It's all single family in that whole neighborhood, or it's all two family in the neighborhood. I can live with that. I'll buy that property. But there might be something hidden next door, and it should be on the zoning map so there's clarity. If the ordinance was needed, there are much easier and simpler ways to achieve the repurposing of these buildings than risking the fabric of the whole city with this poorly worded ordinance. It's a lot better, and I give credit to Tom, our city planner, it's a lot better than it was, and he's taken a lot of steps along the way. But it's not there, as we've heard testimony tonight and all along the way. Later tonight, I will file an order offering one of these very simple examples of how we don't have to do this ordinance. There's a much easier way to achieve the same goal. So several people I've talked to, maybe 40 of you in the last 2 or 3 days, and a few phone calls I didn't return yet. There's only so many hours. But I have had a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls, and I've tried to return all of them. If you're asking questions, if you're just posing comments, I listened to your comments, I read your comments. But if you ask for a return call, I returned, I think, every single one. So the ordinance I'm going to file later, the order rather, will simply take 2 words and exempt and add them into our existing ordinance, and then we can do everything that we're talking about here, except for all the new construction, and except for skipping over the Historic Commission. Affordability doesn't speak to that, and nor does this ordinance, but hopefully the mayor can come forward with something that's meaningful that will actually help low-income seniors and making a lot more units affordable. So that order will come here. You'll hear that later tonight. And actually, I'll have a copy of it. I typed up a copy for each of you on your desk. There's the red line notes on it that show the changes, and you'll see that it's 2 words simply needed to be added to our existing ordinance. So several people said, but not for this ordinance, this new draft ordinance. What are we going to do? You need to give an example. You just can't say no. Well, I'm not saying no. I have a problem with this ordinance, but I'm offering a solution that works in the eyes of zoning people. I've talked to several lawyers along the way. We have some clarifications that we need to do. I'll explain those when I go back up. I'm also open to any other ideas that anybody has. The Salem League of Women Voters, you're all here tonight. I've heard from many of you, and I thank you for your comments. Very, very good comments. Also, Historic Salem. I've listened to a lot of your comments along the way, as I'm sure everybody else at this table have heard. But also, so many people from the public all offered comments. And it's been a nice conversation. So I thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I don't know what's in that water, but you're feeling much better.
Yes.
Right? Is it Salem water?
Yes, it is. Madam City Clerk, unfinished business.
Give Councilor Gerard's notice of reconsideration of first passage of the zoning ordinance relative to the municipal and religious overlay reuse overlay district as amended.
This is a matter that Councilor Gerard proposed, and unfortunately I need to rule the matter out of order.
What? Can you explain that?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
The motion was done properly and submitted to the city clerk, so all of that was done properly, so you're not in error about that. But the rules clearly say we as a board can only entertain one motion for reconsideration, and we had just done that with Councilor Sargent's motion a few minutes earlier. If you all recall, and I'm going to speak to this now, Councilor Sargent motioned for immediate reconsideration in the hopes that it does not prevail. Well, it did not prevail.
It did prevail.
I'm sorry, it did prevail.
Reconsideration did.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Councilor Sargent's motion, the way he asked for it, his request did not prevail. We have, so we had a motion for immediate reconsideration, which actually passed, okay, against the councilor's wishes, but it passed. So we should have voted, or we should have discussed it. One of the councilors should have made a motion to take another vote, or to put it into committee, or to do something with it, actually to take a vote first. But we didn't do that. So the matter died on the floor. It was not tabled. Hold on now. It was not tabled. It was not acted on. It was not motioned. It didn't go anywhere. So your motion, Counselor
I'm Gerard.
Counselor Gerard, can't be heard because it's the second motion on the same matter. Counselor Sargent's motion should have been heard at our last meeting. That being said, we're entering a gray area. The rules are quite clear on a portion of this, but the other portion, the rules are not clear at all. Okay? So I, as president, lacking clear rules on this, will allow a vote to take place tonight. Okay?
Why are you looking over there?
Well,
Because there's the city solicitor that can clarify this.
excuse me. I will allow the vote under Counselor Sargent's motion to go forward because technically by the rules, Counselor Gerard's motion can't go forward. The end result is the exact same, but it follows the rules. Okay? So here's the proposal, that we actually reconsider the matter under Counselor Sargent's order, his motion at our last meeting, even though we didn't act on it in the last meeting. The rules in our book, and I referred to, I've read them all. It's not spoken to. So as president, I'm making the call. We're entering into unfamiliar waters, if you would, and we're simply going to take the vote under under Counselor Sargent's request. Is there any objection to that, councilors? Because if there is, the matter's dead, because it's dead. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not too familiar with the rules, not too familiar with what's happened, but can we ask to be reconsidered on the either one motion to be sent to committee so we can come to a full agreement, make the change that we need to make, and pass it. It's very clear and very important to the city of Salem and for everybody here to have something in place. And I hear everybody concerned. We need to do something, and I think the best way to do it is to bring it back to committee. Work. I don't know if you are allowed to do that. I know you're talking about the debate on what motion is going to be, but I would like to see something more clear now. I'm very confused, being news on the body, and I think that the general public is also confused. So I think that we need to come out with something, but I think that we need to keep it alive. That's my main concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. I'd have to agree, but the rules are quite clear. Part of my presentation tonight was on a motion that it go to committee, but through the city clerk, actually through the our city solicitor, through the city clerk, I learned that we can't put it into committee. The motion is to reconsider the vote, so the vote needs to be taken place, or we don't vote at all. But we cannot vote to do something different, including putting into committee. Okay, so the vote, either we take the vote, or the matter is dead. And my suggestion is that we take the vote. Again, as I said, it was the will of this body to reconsider it, both through Councilor Gerard's motion that we can't hear, and through the vote that took place during after Councilor Sargent's motion. It was the will of this body to reconsider the matter. So I say, as president, let's reconsider the matter. I would like to ask that somebody suspend the rules to allow our city solicitor to speak. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not going to belabor the points, but I will say that earlier this week, being one of the senior members of the council, I did make a phone call to the city clerk and I was, as a senior member, I felt that we needed to have this worked out, and I was very happy to find out that you had already made that phone call. So, of which was told to me, you're pretty much spot on. There's two choices in front of us tonight. Either in whether or not you want to get into which reconsider a motion, whether it's Councilor Gerard's or Councilor Sargent's, either way, there is a reconsideration in front of us, and I agree with that. But the other fact of the matter is, it's voted. We are not, according to reconsideration, as I read it, and as you stated, you read it too. Reconsideration is to reconsider the vote that was previously taken on the amended version of what was in front of us during that vote. So right now, it's just a revote of what's in front of us. Now, after that vote, if someone wants to move out of order and go to motions, orders, and resolutions and order that the matter gets sent to committee, they can do that if there's 6 votes to send it back to committee, or the matter can be amended before second passage. Zoning requires 2 passages. So we could belabor this all night, and I'll ask to waive the rules to allow the city solicitor to come up and speak to that as well, because we've had this conversation, and I know she's had this conversation with you, because she told me she did. So, and I wasn't trying to step on your toes, just being a senior member, I figured I'd make that phone call because I didn't want to come into this room tonight not knowing how we were going to proceed as a body. So I applaud you for, taking the time to do that as well, but I will ask for motion, but I mean, the vote, it's pretty clear. Vote as was amended, up or down, and if it's up, then that opens up another avenue. But right now, it's just what's in front of us. And since we can't change it, there's really no reason to debate it. It's just, we're here for a vote, so.
Agreed. Thank you for the confirmation. City Solicitor, please.
Thank you. That is exactly what I was going to add to the discussion. Councilor McCarthy just summed it all up. What's before you is for first passage. There are 2 passages required. If you want to, if it is successful and it gets adopted for first passage, you can then refer it to committee, and their amendments can be made before second passage, or at second passage.
Thank you. Any other objections? Council Sergeant?
To be clear, the motion for reconsideration was made, voted on in a positive way. What's before us now is to vote up or down, yea or nay, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So we're not voting for reconsideration, we're voting for the issue, for or against the issue.
So, Councilor Sergeant, I guess.
I move that we move the vote.
If you can simply read that sentence, I think it's in order.
What sentence be there?
Top of page 16.
It says Councilor Gerard's motion.
It would be your...
Reconsideration of the first passage of the zoning ordinance relative to the municipal and religious overlay district as amended.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
No.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
No.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Dibble?
No. Eleven councilors present. 6 voting in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. The matter does not carry. Councilor Torrio.
I move we go back to regular order.
Top
of page 6, please.
In order that the sum of $19,587.
All right, can I see a motion for a 1-minute recess to let the room clear? Thank you. We're in recess 1 minute. 'Kay. Communications from the mayor.
We've been ordered that the sum of $19,587 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserved for appropriation free cash account to the fire educational training account in accordance with the recommendation of Her Honor the Mayor.
Councilor Peterson. I'll let the record show that Councilor Flynn has recused herself.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Under discussion?
Yes, this is a necessary expense to cover the continuing education fees for the fire department and EMT certification expenses for all of the new firefighters. That's part of the requirement. I'm not sure if it's always been part of the requirement, but it sounds like it is for everyone now. And it sounds like a lot of firefighters have opted to do more continuing education, which is great for the city. So I move for adoption.
Thank you. Seeing no objection, under Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $14,000 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserve free cash account to the inspectional services electricity account.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, under discussion.
Yes, this is higher because of it's for increased electric and Constellation bills, and it's because we have properties on our rolls, including 93 Washington, 98 Washington, 401 Bridge, and 5 Broad. So I move for adoption.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Peterson, all those in favor? All those opposed? Ayes have it. It's adopted. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $10,000 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserve for appropriation free cash account to the city council advertising account in accordance with recommendation of Her Honor the Mayor.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, under discussion.
I move for adoption and now under discussion. The advertising budget is almost depleted, and there are 4 months left in the fiscal year. So, especially because we've been working on the zoning ordinance. Zoning ordinances have to be advertised twice, so the fee is a little bit higher than anticipated.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Peterson for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $3,873.93 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund for Sheila Bedard of the School Department.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection?
I move for adoption.
Thank you. Under discussion?
Thank you. I want to thank Sheila Bedard for her service to our school department. This is part of the vacation and sick leave retirement buyback account, so I move that we adopt it.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Oh, Councilor Flynn, I think I'm calling on you.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the City Council, March 14, 2019, ordered that the City Council elect Councilor Dominguez and Councilor Sargent to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees per ordinance, Chapter 2, Section 1002. The City Council shall annually elect 2 members of the City Council to serve for a term of 1 year. The City Council President or his or her designee shall serve for a term of 1 year, and that their terms are from April 12, 2019 to April 12, 2020. And I move for adoption.
Thank you. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? Yes. Councilor Durant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to actually make an amendment and would like to see Councilor Madore put back on this board. She is someone that has a background in affordable housing, and because of her background, she's a strong representative, and last year when I was president, she made fantastic recommendations and really got the board moving. So I'd like to move to amend to either as your designee or switch out, however the body chooses, either Councilor Dominguez or Councilor Sargent.
You need to decide which one you'd like to make your motion for.
Can she be your designee?
Yes, it's allowed by the rules.
Great.
But that's not on this motion. It's not in the motion here.
Okay. So, okay, then Councilor Sargent, I guess? Then switch out Councilor Sargent for Councilor Madore?
Any further discussion?
I'll second it.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to reiterate how much I've enjoyed serving on this board in the past year. I I believe I brought a lot to the table, my background and expertise in housing policy, and I wish to very much continue to serve on this board. And Councilor Dominguez has been attending several of these meetings as well and brings a lot to the table. And as many of us know, we have some issues that are very near and dear to us, and there are specific policies that we would like to see through, whether it takes 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, or even go beyond terms, 2-year terms of our elected office. Great example is the tree ordinance that took almost 3 years. And my approach is the same. I want to see some great affordable housing policies pass in this city, whether it goes beyond my term or not, but I would like to continue to contribute to this cause, and I understand that I can only serve up to 2 years. And with all due respect to my colleague, at-large colleague, I think he brings a lot of experience as well, but I want to continue, and I think it's very appropriate that I continue to do work, just as all of you have policies that you would like to be advocates for. And I hope to continue to serve on this board. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. I strongly concur with the excellence and service the Councilor Maduro brings to the table. Her resume, her expertise, her experience, she has served on that Affordable Housing Board. She was looking forward to serving to fulfill that term, and I'm very disappointed by your judgment to allow 2 other choices to take place. I've never heard that take place. I heard that she wasn't even asked in the process, that you just made a decision on your own to appoint 2 people. And I give great credit for Councilor Sargent, Councilor Dominguez as councilors, but I think this is unparalleled, unprofessional, totally out of the range of good decision-making by the President. I think Councilor Sargent and Councilor Dominguez knows and recognizes and respects the role and responsibility that Councilor Maduro has played. And I think either one of you can take that position somewhere along the line. Why now? I'm very disappointed. Is it a power play? I'm disappointed. I think we should keep the President's, her experience, her excellence is beyond question. And I think Councilor Sargent, his wisdom and experience as the second experienced city councilor, and Councilor Dominguez will have plenty of time to serve on this board. And I'm disappointed by this judgment. And I think I ask 2 of you to withdraw to allow her to continue, because that's what we need, is experience, continuity, and this is an inappropriate judgment by the Council President. I think we now have to take it to an individual basis. Councilor Dominguez can have that position somewhere along the line, or Councilor Sargent can have it somewhere along the line. But I will be voting against the 2 of you if you don't concede. Thank you.
We have Councilor Milo, Councilor Turiel, then Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rather than hash this out on the council floor, I'd like to see this tabled until the next meeting to give us all an opportunity to have discussions. I'll say among ourselves, as long as we're not in a quorum. But this is not a matter, I don't believe, to be discussing this evening and pitting one counselor against another. I think it would be helpful, again, if we table it, bring it back in the next meeting, give us some time. Let me have time to talk to the Ward 2 counselor. Let me have time to talk to you, to talk to everybody else, and figure out where we're at and where we want to go with this.
Good idea. Councilor Turiel.
Motion's on the floor.
Yeah, motion on the floor to
Motion
table.
on the floor is a table. That's got to be dealt with first.
That was a
President.
motion, so I assume.
I'm sorry?
That was an actual motion to table, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Non-debatable?
We have a motion.
Non-debatable, so.
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor to table till our next meeting, seconded by Councilor Flynn. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
The matter carries.
Mayor, is it all right to speak personal privilege now?
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am grateful for Councilor Milo to step forward. I've always referred to her as taking over for Joan Lovely as the mother of the council, and I think that was done very well. Whenever we fill out our forms, I always put what committees I want to be on, and then whatever else the council president needs. I serve at the will of for the president, and whatever the president needs me to do, I'm willing to do, but I'm also willing to compromise. Thank you.
Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Gerard.
Thank you.
City of Salem and City Council, March 14th, 2019, ordered that Section 36 of the Rules and Orders of the City Council be amended by deleting the reference to Cushing's Manual and inserting in place thereof Robert's Rules of Order. And this, because of Rule 35, this has to be, can't take any action until the next meeting on March 28th, 2019, under the rules.
So no vote is required.
No discussion, no nothing.
Thank you. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. In City Council, March 14, 2019, ordered that any Salem resident interested in applying to be a member of the Tree Commission submit an application found online, along with a resume, to the city clerk by March 25, 2019, and that the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to review such applications and resumes and bring forward a recommendation to the full council as to the city council appointee. And I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Flynn for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 51, parking prohibited on certain streets. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 51 as follows, repealing Whalers Lane southbound on the westerly side, starting 165 feet from First Street and extending to Fortune Way, no parking anytime, and replacing with Whalers Lane southbound on the westerly side from First Street to Good Hope Lane, no parking anytime. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
Thank you. Under discussion?
Yes, this was something that, and I'm not saying this, it doesn't fall any blame on anyone, but it got kind of lost in the shuffle when we had a lot of turnover at the same time between the parking department and the parking officer. We had run a couple of trials. We had passed a couple trials earlier. I think it was like spring to summer last year. And so we're kind of just getting back to this. Now we have a great team in place, and so the neighborhood is eager to get this sorted out. So I ask that we pass this, please.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Council Peterson for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 51, parking prohibited on certain streets, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 51 by adding the following. Whalers Lane southbound on the westerly side from First Street to Majestic Way, westbound on the northeast side from Majestic Way to Queensbury Drive, northbound on the easterly side from Queensbury Drive to Captain's Lane, northbound on the easterly side from the driveway serving 162 to 168 Whalers Lane to the driveway serving 170 to 176 Whalers Lane, no parking anytime. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Bless you.
And I move for adoption for first passage.
Under discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, this is related to the previous one. When the new team when we met, then they drove around the neighborhood, they noticed a bunch of signs that were up for no parking and went back to the ordinances, did a ton of great work and realized that there was nothing to support the signs that were up. So we want to just match the ordinance to the signs that have been in effect for some time.
Any further discussion?
No.
There being none. On the motion by Council Peterson for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Fury.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in City Council, March 14th, 2019, ordered that the attached zoning ordinance amendment be sent to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and referred out at the next meeting to schedule a joint public hearing with the Planning Board. Late file.
Being late, no discussion, right?
Any further motions, orders, and resolutions? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, March 14, 2019. Ordered that the Committee on Community and Economic Development meet with representatives of the Ipswich River Watershed Association to discuss their net zero water use policy and any other water use policy that may affect the City of Salem. This will be co-posted with Committee of the Whole. Invited Ipswich River Watershed representatives, the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, the Mayor or her representative. Thank you. No discussion.
Further motions, orders, and resolutions? There being none. Committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, March 14th, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of discussing trial period for 4 parking spaces on Washington Street and the 2 southernmost rows of parking in Raleigh Plaza for a pilot program for valet parking, has considered said matter and recommend adoption for the trial period.
I'm sorry.
Adoption for the trial period.
Thank you. On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Oh, excuse me, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met prior to tonight's meeting, and we had the parking director in, chief of police, the mayor was here, and Renus Ustuk from the chamber, Kylie Sullivan from Main Streets, and a couple members of the public spoke relative to a valet pilot program. We tried this a bunch of years ago when I was in the council, and it's come up again. It's not specific for any one restaurant, it's for the whole downtown. There's going to be 4 spaces on Washington Street in which people can pull in, pay the fee, I think it's $12, and then the cars will be brought to the furthest most part of Raleigh Plaza, which is in the Zone 1 pass, which doesn't affect the residential passes, and then also they have access to the Holyoke building. On the weekends, there's a garage up there that they can put cars in as well. And so they've worked out the details. They're in the negotiations with a valet company. All the legality of it falls on the valet company. The city is not on the hook for anything. We're just allowing them, giving them the spaces in order to do it. There's a break-even point, which the mayor brought up. So if it doesn't hit X, whatever I think was 80-something cars, I believe, for the week, it's only going to be on Fridays and Saturday nights, that at that point, the city will have to pick up the difference, which will come out of the fund, which is that the downtown merchants pay into. It's for a 4-month trial. It's going to start as soon as they can get it up and running, get some of the signage up, and get the word out there that it's going to exist. Probably at this point, it'll probably run from like the middle of April to the middle of August, and then they'll come back in front of this body, and then we'll make a determination if it's working, what the feedback was, and then we'll try to tackle the elephant in the room and whether or not they're going to do valet parking during the month of October. But we won't jump that gun yet. We'll wait till this trial period's over and see what happens. But the recommendation was to allow the trial period to happen.
Any further discussion? There being none. On to Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further committee reports. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, March 14th, 2019. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of petitioning the General Court for local entertainment tax, has considered said matter and would recommend a negative recommendation.
On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. On the adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Yes, thank you. We had a meeting about a week ago, I think, and it was a great meeting. It was very well attended, primarily by members of the entertainment industry, I guess we call it, the tourism industry in Salem. And it was a good chance for us to be reminded of. I think that the goal is noble to try to keep our taxes low, but we're reminded that these are our neighbors who are working really hard for their own families, and it's important to protect them as well. And so they all gave wonderful testimony, and it was a good reminder of how much they bring to us and bring to the city. So it was a great discussion, and I hope that we will all vote for the negative recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On Council Peterson's motion for, I'm sorry, Council Sergeant.
Thank you. And I apologize for not being at the meeting. I was away. But I just bringing to light what happened last time this came before us years ago was it was put on the ballot. It was the people got a little say on it, and I think it won at the ballot, but then we didn't vote to put it on the send it to the. We didn't vote to send it forward to the state. It was we lost that vote. So I just would have brought that discussion up while I was here, and I just didn't know if anybody had thought about that again to give the people a say on it. But just curious. Thank you.
Yeah. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just quickly, we did actually have the vote record from 2003, and we had Mayor Yusevich's letters about that and everything, and how the vote had come out when when Mayor Yusevich was sending the home rule petition. I think it was a home rule petition, to send back to us, and then we, as a body, voted it down. So we did have the history.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Can I see a motion for roll call vote on this, please? No? No. Okay. On Council Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Communications from city officials, none. Petitions.
We have a communication from the police traffic revoking Chris Lara's taxi operator license due to police action.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption and also that it be received and filed.
Those under discussion?
No discussion. This individual had his operator's license revoked, which is that's what we're moving to adopt, and also that this action be received and filed as a matter of record.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
There being none. All those in favor of Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption and to be received and filed? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a list of public guides and taxi operators.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that they be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? On Councilor McCarthy's motion that they be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have one tag day license application.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President.
Further discussion? There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a list of 4 claims.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that they be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's recommendation that it be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have 1 signed bond.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? Nope. There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's recommendation that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Unfinished business. Councilor Fury.
Kind of personal privilege. I wish to have requested our city councilors, all of us, to think about fairness, transparency, and openness in the discussion that we're going to have the next meeting about the appointment of the Councilman Dore, or Councilman Sargent, or Councilman Dominguez to the Housing Trust Fund. I think we need to be above board, trustworthy, transparent, and not go into an email situation or other media, social media process among us. I found it very disturbing that some of us did that during the city clerk's appointment. And I urge you not to deal with emailing each other over what we're going to do on this. Transparency requires us to be here, public, not behind the scenes, under the radar. So I urge my fellow councilors, as we discuss this issue in the future, at a future meeting, not to be emailing each other on a personality issue. I am very disappointed in the overall process the council president has put us in. And I hope wisdom and judgment by Councilor Dominiquez and Councilor Sargent in the process of the next meeting, think about their future on the Housing Trust Fund. Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good to see you up there.
Thank you.
Yes.
The less, the better.
To just be clear, point of personal privilege on this matter of the appointees for the Affordable Housing Board. This was not some sort of power play, Mr. President, at all. I had just appointed all the councilors to different, as liaisons to different commissions and boards. I thought I did that pretty fairly across the board, and onto different committees, and I thought I did that fairly across the board. I pledged to be open and transparent up there in everything I do, to allow the public to speak, to allow the councilors to have adequate time. I have not shut off anybody from the public or from the councilors in their attempt to speak, even though several councilors have repeatedly spoken 3 or 4 or 5 times on a certain matter. I've allowed for that discussion and the debate to happen. I'm a pretty straight shooter. So with regard to this matter, I looked at the council, and I saw our only Hispanic councilor, if I
I don't know
may.
why we're just, I think we're going to have a future meeting. My
Yes,
request
we
is
are.
just to go to no Twitter, no emailing each other, a public meeting. I don't think we need to discuss this any further, Mr. President.
Yes, I'm
gonna
simply,
step down.
I'm simply responding to your concerns earlier.
I'm stepping down.
Okay? Well,
I'm just totally disappointed in the process. I'm stepping down.
you,
I'm fed
Council
up.
Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. Power play there.
Councilor,
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm stepping out of the chambers. I'm disgusted as a president. Disgusted.
Well, I wish that you would hear my response. Perhaps you'll watch it. I selected Councilor Dominguez because he's bringing knowledge of affordable housing and knowledge of our Hispanic community to the table. And I selected Councilor Sargent because I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe he's the only city councilor who actually lived in low-income housing, Rainbow Terrace. That was my rationale here. There was no power play at all. Councilor Madore approached me, the Ward 2 councilor, and asked that she be able to still serve on this. And I thought that was good. But I had already talked to 2 councilors, so I said, well, we need to talk to 2 councilors.
We've already tabled this.
Yeah, we can't
let's-
discuss this.
It's been tabled.
Yeah.
Well,
We're not
Move we
supposed to
adjourn.
discuss this.
At this point, this is very out of order at this point.
excuse me, as president, we allow a lot of points of personal
Yeah.
privilege. I think we can hear another few minutes from
But if
council.
something's tabled,
People have
Madam
spoke.
City Clerk,
We're
if
allowed a
something's
point of
tabled,
personal privilege. We've allowed people to speak at the public comment period longer than we've allowed the council president to speak. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Point of personal.
I'll be very, very brief. Councilor Madore approached me, and I said I'd be willing to do that. Let me talk to the other 2 councilors. And then she asked about replacing me as being my designee for this. And I said, that's, I'd be welcome to that. Let me check to see if it's allowed. So there was no power play here at all. I was open and transparent across the board, as I was with my discussions on Councilor Madore yesterday. There's no hidden agenda here at all. I'm willing to work with Councilor Madore to make this happen. I'm not sure how it got to this point, but there was nothing hidden at all across the board. I don't work that way. You all know me well enough. Thank you. Excuse me?
No more debate
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, madam.
no more debate on the.
Right, thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just quickly, a point of personal privilege. I mean, I probably agree with Council President, a certain amount of the time, but I've known him my whole life, that this is a man of one of the most integrity of anybody I've ever known. So I don't question his integrity whatsoever. He's had good effect on too many children and too many adults' lives. The amount of time he's spent with kids in Salem, I just, I can't do that. But with that, I move for adjournment. Thank you.
Move for adjournment. We are adjourned.